What's going on, guys? This is Jake coming at you with another podcast. This time it is the entirety of the 2016 comic book movie season. I'm here with Vega and John. Why don't you guys go ahead and say hi?
What's
Yo,
going
what up?
on?
What up?
Oh,
What up?
all right. So today we're here. We're going to talk about all the comic book movies, superhero movies coming out in 2016. Obviously, first up is Deadpool. Comes out in a couple days on February 12th. What are you guys' thoughts on Deadpool?
So excited for Deadpool, man. I mean, can't I don't know how people can build up how excited people are. I mean, this is something I think that's really unique, stands out. I think different from every one of the comic book movies that are coming out this year. And probably the reason being is because it's something that's like taken 10 years in the making, and it's something that pushed was pushed for by the fans, and for the fans, like it's something that was I think it's got like some independent, film like roots. It's not going to be something that, is meant to just make a lot of money, or, like meant to like give a franchise. Like this is going to be something, I think, in like the spirit of Iron Man, or the spirit of like the first Spider-Man. Like it's going to be something fresh and new. So, and it's going to be, you can already tell it's going to be faithful just by its R rating. So I've seen great reviews, and yeah, dude, I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Go ahead, Vega.
No, I'm just about to say, for John, we all know John, how excited he's been for this movie. But it's just like a movie, dude, you can just tell it's like made from the heart, dude. It's not like one of these like movies that are just kind of just forced out. Like John said, it's been on the shelf for like 10 years. You can tell how much passion Ryan Reynolds has for this movie, man. You can tell he's so in love with his character. So I can't wait for it. I think it's a nice refresh for superhero movies that we kind of just need, like a nice comedic, hard rated R movie. Just, I can't wait, man. Tomorrow, can't wait.
Yeah, anyone who doesn't know, we're recording this on Wednesday night, the 10th. I believe all three of us are seeing this tomorrow night at the early screenings. But my main thing about Deadpool is I mean, I'm obviously praising. I don't think that's my thing. No one has really talked shit about this movie. There was nothing going on from the very beginning of production of this movie where people doubted it. As soon as we got a release of Deadpool's costume, everyone was on board. There was no shit talking, and that's rare nowadays because we're all judging these movies, right? Every little piece of evidence that comes out, every behind the scenes picture, everything, we're judging the shit out of these movies. But Deadpool, what's interesting and unique about Deadpool is that there is nothing backing this. There's nothing that preceded this. Yeah, it's somewhat quasi sequel incorporated into the X-Men franchise, but this thing is really standing alone. Like John said, like Iron Man. Iron Man was kind of the first thing to start it off. Iron Man was kind of under the microscope. Deadpool's now under the microscope. But it's very rare to have these movies come out and not have negative reactions. I mean, I haven't seen a negative reaction from anybody, and that is also including the fact that this thing is being put out by Fox. And Fox's sketchy record with these X-Men movies, I'm surprised there aren't more people out there doubting this movie. And I think it's great. I mean, I love that we're all giving this a chance. I love that this movie seems completely faithful, that Reynolds obviously has a passion for this project. I think everybody involved has a passion for this project. I mean, even to the details of like Colossus looking fucking on point. I mean, that is comic book movie that's comic book Colossus come to life. And that's my biggest thing about this movie that I'm so excited about. It's that this movie is not getting any backlash. Early reviews have come out. There's been no negative reviews. It was sitting at 100% Rotten Tomatoes a couple days ago. I don't know what it is now. But that's my thing about Deadpool, and I have the utmost faith in this movie. I'm super excited to go see it.
I agree. Yeah, and I want to like kind of, I don't know if it's correct or just like kind of clear it up, is actually what it was the test footage that came out in 2014.
That's right. Yeah.
That was accidentally leaked out. That once
accidentally,
saw
right?
That, yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, because I think there was an interview like either today or sometime this week, because Ryan Reynolds has been he's been promoting the movie on like late night shows and stuff like that. And he said that he's 70% sure that it wasn't him or something. But I mean, either way, thank God to whoever got a hold of the test footage, because once we got that, it was really, there's so much fan support, and that's what's so cool about this movie. Is it's one of those that it wasn't going to get made, but when we saw the potential just from like a 5-minute little CGI
clip,
test
yeah.
footage,
people flipped, man. I mean, like everyone flipped, and they were. I mean, they weren't really making all these demands, but they were like, man, if that's what a 2 hour movie is going to be like, I can replay this for 5 minutes, and I love every single minute of it.
Yeah,
And
and
I think that is really the cool thing is it's been on the shelf for 10 years. Now that the fans saw the potential, I mean, that's the thing is I think with Fox and like you were saying, Jake, about the sketchy history, every time they've done something, they've never had they've always like released it just a little bit too late, like when it's already in the making, and it's kind of like, well, it's already going to be that way, so we can't backtrack now. But this was test footage, so they had something to kind of go off of, and people just went nuts over it. So I think that was one of the reasons that that it got that big push, is because people gave it such a positive, like, yes, dude, finally, this is what we want to see,
right. And you know what? I think we can honestly.
Yeah, completely agree. Oh, Fudge, go ahead, my man. Go ahead.
I just got a quick thing. I think we can honestly attribute this movie as being the first movie born of fans on the internet pushing for this movie. I can't think of another movie, comic movie at least, that has come out and
no, none at all. None at all.
And it was born because the fans were clamoring for it. We got that test footage, which I really don't think was accidentally leaked, but we got that, and everyone just flipped their shit. And Fox is like, great, reactions to this are perfect. This is what we were looking for by accidentally leaking it out. Let's go ahead and make this movie. Reynolds, you got your fucking budget. Miller, make this fucking thing.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those. I think that's like the second time probably within the last, like, I want to say maybe 5 to 8 years where like something has happened that the fans like truly supported. Like I think the first time I noticed, someone, and it was the case was when Jeremy Renner was cast as Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But because like for like the last 5 years before the Avengers movie was even made, he was always fan casted. They were like, dude, nobody else can be Hawkeye. For some reason, Jeremy Renner is Hawkeye. He looks like him. He would have the acting chops. He would have the action type of skill. That is going to be Hawkeye. And then sure enough, when he was casted, people were like, oh shit. Like they listened to us, like they really legit listened to us. So,
I mean, you can
I think
argue
the same with Deadpool.
You can argue the same thing with X-Men Origins casting Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I mean, how long?
It was always the perfect casting. Always the perfect casting.
Yeah, I mean, how many people have always said? I mean, years before Origins came out, that Ryan Reynolds was born to play Deadpool. Well, here it is, guys.
Yeah.
Vega.
And I think,
go ahead.
I think that Green Lantern just like kind of like pushed him, like gave him more motivation just to get this movie out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, get that sour taste out of the fans' mouths.
Yeah, exactly. I think it just gave him that like motivation. Like, dude, you know what? Green Lantern was absolutely terrible. After he saw how like the reaction to him as Deadpool and like Origins, like you were saying, I think it just gave him so much more motivation to get this done and get this out here for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean even the fucking trailers, they talk about don't make the suit green or animated.
Oh, dude, it's great. It's just,
I love that the movie is self-aware.
Just a nice comedic superhero movie to give us like obviously like, the Marvel Studios movies like have a comedic like little touch to it, but it's nothing like what Deadpool is gonna be.
This is gonna be a lot of dry humor, and I think what's good is like that's the reason like everything is coming together so perfectly. Is only a character like Deadpool is gonna be able to poke fun, subtly at some of these other superhero movies. Like
because,
like
I mean he breaks the fourth wall, and being able to do that and the audience being able to accept the fact that this guy is talking straight to him means you can have a lot more fun. You can address a lot of other things outside of the movie's universe because this movie knows what it is and it's self-aware.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons this is going to kill, man, because like I think don't get me wrong, I've really appreciated all the superhero movies that have come before this movie, but I think it's about time, like as just as popular as Deadpool is within comics, in general, and within like pop culture and media, I think it's his time now. Like this is why everything's coming together so perfectly, dude. It could not be, better. Like they're coming out at a time where it's not very risky. They're not coming out in May or in the summertime and competing with all those other big budget movies. Wasn't made on a big budget. A lot of people, it's the whole project is like near and dear to their heart. So I think everything is going to work out for this movie. This movie is probably going to be, I don't know if there's been Valentine's Day movie openings or anything, but I'm sure that this will break all records as far as that. And from what I've read, it's already garnered a sequel just from
Yep.
the response. So I
Yeah,
mean, like
unreal,
it's
crazy.
awesome.
I think that one of the best things this movie has going for it is its marketing campaign. Holy
Oh yeah,
shit!
dude.
Have
Dude,
I
the
have
marketing has been spot on.
I have never
Every
seen
single
anything like
I've
this.
never seen something like that ever, dude. It's just so spot on, dude. Every day you get something new, and it's just so great. It just makes you love the character and love what you're gonna get in this movie.
Yeah, and every time you're pleasing the fans. Every time something drops, you don't have fans going, "Oh bullshit, that's not Deadpool." Every time it's like, "Holy shit, you have just reaffirmed. I already knew you got Deadpool right, but fucking hey, dude, you got even more right."
I mean, it really, as far as marketing, like it does its job and then some because it's and this is just I'm speaking for myself, but every single time that there's been something, whether it be a new trailer or the Christmas trailer or like the first picture of this dude debuting the suit, I think probably the internet broke, dude, because that was just such an epic picture, like him lying right in front of the the fireside, like with that bear skin rug, and like the
Oh
and then
yeah,
there was
the what was it? That was what's his face from oh shit from something in the band, Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds. That's like a Burt,
Yeah,
like a Burt
Yeah,
Reynolds.
it was Burt Reynolds.
exactly.
Yeah,
Or even the April Fool's thing, because that was a little bit up in the air as people were concerned. They saw the test footage, but there was that little controversy whether Deadpool was going to be PG-13 or rated R. So then for him to put it on April Fool's that it is going to be rated R, you're like, dude, a rated R Deadpool. Like
You
every
know what's
time that
great
they've
too?
released something, it's like the debut with the thing that he did with Mario Lopez. Like, dude,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
like
I was saying.
that's
The Mario
just
Lopez.
yeah, dude. I mean, like it's cool. Like, I mean, it's new and it's fresh. You don't see a lot of things,
Exactly what it is. It's just it's a
happening
refreshment.
like
It's
that.
like yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Quick questions I want to ask you guys.
What's up?
No, about this movie.
Go
Like
ahead.
expectations for the movie, we already got to. Who do you? There's supposedly there's a cameo, another X-Men person in the after credits. Who do you guys think it's gonna be?
Dude, I have no idea. Don't care. Looking
Yeah,
forward and going in. I'm looking forward to just going in blind and being surprised.
I mean, I have no
yeah.
clue who it is, but I'm just curious. I want.
I mean,
I mean, it would be cool if it was Hugh Jackman as Wolverine because we all
That's
kind of
that's
want
what
yeah.
I
to
think
see
it's
that
probably gonna be.
rematch.
That's what I probably think it's honestly gonna be.
That'd be
I
a
think
lot of fun, especially over
yeah,
social media. We've seen them, kind of going at it as in a joking manner.
very
Even
much.
even
And
with even with Deadpool, Steven like the Hugh Jackman Wolverine toy and stuff. Just
Yeah, Australia
oh,
Day and shit.
it's
I think
awesome.
that that's probably going to be, if that's the case, that would be really, really awesome because that does connect. And I will say that if it weren't for Hugh Jackman's. If there's one thing that the Origins movie got right, it was the casting of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Oh
So
yeah,
I think Ryan Reynolds does owe a little bit to Hugh Jackman for getting that movie started because of course I know a lot of people don't know this, but Hugh Jackman actually produced Origins, and I
right.
mean he's produced the Wolverine movies as well. He's actually become a creative part of it as well. Which I mean that's a cool thing about these actors like Hugh Jackman and like Ryan Reynolds is they care so much about the characters that they're playing too, where they're gonna put it all out there, to please the fans. Like I mean, they've already done a good job as far as just being casted, but taking it on themselves to be like a creative part in this. Like Reynolds produced it. I mean, he's helped kind of bring it
Yeah,
off the ground. I
Pretty
mean,
sure he helped write the script. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
he's all in on this man.
Yeah, he's got
and
his
it's
hands in everything in this movie.
And it's one of those things, honestly, where like if Ryan Reynolds never makes another movie again besides Deadpool, I'm gonna be okay with that. Like, I
That's
mean,
him
I don't
going
know
out
about
on
you, but
top for sure.
I mean, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, but that's the thing is like there was some of the news article that I'd seen, just web surfing, and it was said that Ryan Reynolds is never going to play another superhero role again. And you know what? I mean, he shouldn't because this right here, this is
I don't want him to play another superhero role. I feel like
exactly.
I can't see him as anyone else. He is Wade Wilson. He is Deadpool. He's the Merc with the mouth. You know what I mean? He already tried the Green Lantern experiment. It clearly didn't work. The movie
Blade
was horrible.
Trinity was, I mean, he was funny in Blade Trinity, don't get me wrong, but the overall movie wasn't received well, so yeah.
Well, even then, like people have even posted articles, or people have posted like you know, stuff about how like that whole is I can't remember, isn't Hannibal King? He's a Marvel character, but like even the character that Ryan was portraying, it was very Deadpoolish. So it's
Oh
like
yeah,
those are one of the reasons. Like when he had that attitude, it's like man, that's a Deadpool type of guy. He needs to be Deadpool, and then sure enough, it's going on.
right. Yeah, so little disclaimer to anyone listening who might not know already, but do not go and take your 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old kids to see this movie. It is not
No.
intended for them. That is what separates Deadpool from the rest of these Marvel films, is that kids should not be seeing this. You're not going to take your 8-year-old to go and watch Pulp Fiction in theater. Don't go ahead and take them to Deadpool.
Just wait till it comes on FX and wait till it takes out all the good stuff, and then when they're 18 and ready, they can watch the movie.
Exactly.
themselves.
Unless you want to be a good parent, talk to them before and after the film and tell them what's okay to say and emulate and what's not. Up to
Pretty
you.
much.
I'm not going to tell you how to parent, but just don't go don't go take your fucking kids to this movie, okay? And do the adults who want to see this movie a favor, and don't bring little kids to this movie and piss us off in the movie theater.
Yeah, or at least don't, like, if that's a thing, be smart about it and at least know what type of movie you're going to go into. I mean, like I said, we're not telling you people how to be parents, but don't go into Deadpool thinking that it's going to be like Iron Man 3.
No,
It's not going to happen. It's a completely different type of film, which
Yes.
is why we're appreciating it right now. But yeah.
Exactly. And last thing I want to do is I want to do predictions on this movie. So out of all 6 of the movies coming out this year, where do we see Deadpool kind of fitting in with the rest? I mean, you can talk about critical reception, fan reception, financial success, whatever you guys want to say. What do you think it's going to be in terms stacked up against the rest of them?
Honestly, I'm looking at the list right now, the movies that we are getting, and it honestly might. It's going to be in the top 3 in my opinion.
Yeah.
From everything these people are saying about how good it is, I'm looking at, and I believe it's going to be one of the top 3 CBMs this year. I think it surprised everyone.
I think this one's going to have the best fan reception out of all of them.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
This one will please all the fans more than the rest of them will. And we'll talk about that later, but that's what I expect.
Yeah, I'm really not expecting anything money-wise. I mean, obviously, it's already done well enough critical-wise where it's, it's going to get a sequel. So, that was never out of the question. But I think as far as, like, the sleeper hit, the one that people are expecting to be better than anything else, as far as, like, fan reception was, like you were saying, I think this one's definitely going to top it out because, one, it's the dream movie. No one ever thought that this would see the light of day, and for it to happen, this is going to be like a great fan service. It's not just going to be something where, let's get the general audience, let's make this a big summer popcorn movie. This is just going to be something made for the fans. Like,
yeah, exactly. This
legit.
is a fan service film, and I think we can all appreciate that.
Yup.
Vega, anything else?
No, man. Let's move it on. Let's get the show on the roll here.
All right.
Can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, no shit,
Exactly,
dude.
exactly.
Here it comes. And we can even do something about, after we've seen Deadpool, people have had time to see it, we can have a spoiler talk if we want to.
Ooh.
We can do that later. But let's move on to March. Batman vs. Superman comes out, when is it, like the 25th or something? 18th? Something like that?
Somewhere around there, man. March 2016.
Yeah, so next month we have Batman vs. Superman. All right, guys, take it away. What are your thoughts? What is the thing that you are most excited about? Your main thesis for Batman vs. Superman?
Before I even get on to my main thesis about this, it's just crazy how we've been waiting for this movie for what, 2 years? 2 years ago they filmed this movie, right?
Yeah, it was originally supposed to come out last year.
So to me, it's just we're finally getting it. If you know me, you know I'm not the biggest DC guy. I'm pro Marvel, but it's just still the point that we're getting two of arguably the most iconic superheroes going one-on-one, toe to toe with each other, and it's just gonna be something awesome to watch. I have my doubts on it, but it's still the point of seeing Superman versus Batman. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, but Vega, go ahead and talk about whatever you want to talk most about this movie. Say it.
I just want to see how they're going to bring them all together. Obviously, Dawn of Justice. I want to see how they're going to do it. I don't want it to be rushed in the end. You know what I mean? I don't want just a Zack Snyder typical movie which is great. We know the action's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, visuals will always be on point.
Visuals will be great.
Snyder.
I just want, you know what I mean? Like, I want this to kick off the DCU off on the right step. Let's get it going. Every year it's going to be pumped for Marvel and DC. Let's get it going. Like, I want to see how they're going to, bring all these huge characters, Aquaman, Flash. I mean, they're probably not going to be for that much, but how they're going to bring them all together and who's going to be the main villain, because there's a bunch of talk about, Doomsday's not the real villain. Lex Luthor's just there. So what's it really going to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. What about you, John?
Dude, I am, as someone who is, who is pro, I will say I'm pro DC. I mean, it's not that I'm pro DC. I would just say that DC was the first comic book superheroes that I,
Let's not sugarcoat it. We know
to,
Superman is your favorite. It's okay.
Yes, Superman is one of my favorite. I was really pleased with Man of Steel. a few years ago. It was just a new kind of refreshing take. I mean, granted, it wasn't the best movie, but I think it was done justice, and that's only because I have my opinions on Superman being a very, very hard character to nail. As far as this movie goes, though, I'm really, really excited. I think what's overshadowing my excitement for the story is just more the fact of, for the first time ever, we're going to be seeing, these two characters, kind of like what Patrick was saying, was just, we're going to be seeing the two most, arguably the most popular characters in comics and pop culture, you know, on the big screen together for the first time. Like, this could have happened in the 80s, didn't happen. Could have happened in the 90s, didn't happen. Could have happened in the early 2000s, still didn't happen. Finally, now, for the first time ever, they're going to be hitting the big screen. They both look awesome. They're both well casted. It's got some seasoned actors in there. So I'm kind of excited to see that. I'm not as concerned with the story, only because it's going to be your general, to me, as a comic fan and as reading the many times that Batman is introduced to Superman, or when they get introduced to each other, I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory, man. They don't like each other at first, and then they find a common ground because there's a big threat, and they're going to wipe out that threat, and then realize that they do make a good team, even though they may not like each other sometimes. They can't ignore the fact that together they have a bond. There's something there, and that's really what I want to see just played out live action. I'm really not that worried about the story. Like I said, if it's just a generic story that'll be good to me, it's not something that has to be like crazy compelling. But and then you have the introduction of Wonder Woman, and then you have the introduction of Aquaman, and like, while those are
Cyborg and the Flash. I mean,
yeah, Cyborg and the
getting our
Flash.
first looks at everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be something where this will be the one that starts the Justice League, and I'm not sure how big those other side characters and how big their roles are, but I mean, even then, it's really just a play on the comics, because unless you're a legit comic fan and you honestly, Aquaman is your personal favorite because of his stories, then there's no reason you should be upset, because those characters have always been B-level characters to the two big guns. So I mean, it's kind of like something that's just a fact to me. While I would wish that when they are going to get their own films, it's just not the right time for them yet. So I don't know. I'm just excited to see how it plays out. I'm really not stressing, and putting too much concern over the story. I'm really just wanting to just see how it plays out. But I'm really going to get the most satisfaction just seeing and that's the thing, is not just the fact that it's the two of them, but they are done pretty well. Henry Cavill is a great Superman. Ben Affleck is going to be his first outing, but the suit looks awesome. The bat tools and everything looks awesome. The costume looks awesome. This will be the first Batman wearing that Frank Miller armored suit. I mean,
and the first one that's not all black.
Exactly.
Oh,
you
finally.
got something. Yeah, you got something very, very comic faithful. Like, it's not a movie version of the suit. It is the Frank Miller costume. It's got the big black bat. You don't have to worry about any yellow oval in the middle. The mask is very menacing. The neck has got this big panther neck. I mean, he literally looks like he jumped out of the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns, comic, which that's what you want when you make a comic book movie, especially if you're going for,
A specific
really,
art,
really,
the way that they kind of are here.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not just making a general, oh, this is the movie version of something. No, this is legit.
Yeah, this is taking straight notes from Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. Great book in the 80s. And like always, John is definitely on board with movies that are a lot more visually accurate to their comic book source.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. My big thing about this movie is, I mean, you guys have touched on everything that I kind of already think to myself. But my biggest thing about this movie is that I can't get over the fact that I know there are just going to be things in there that I cannot agree with, that I know are going to divide the fans the way Man of Steel did. You're going to have the people coming up defending every choice that Zack Snyder and the rest of the team made, and you're going to have other ones just calling bullshit. And I know it's going to start a war, which is kind of cool, because it is Batman versus Superman, right? So you kind of want the fans to be able to see both sides and defend both sides. But the thing that I feel like I'm literally on the fence, and either way I sway, I'm going to snag my ball sack on it, Like, I don't know, because in Man of Steel, there's two huge things I didn't agree with. It was the way Pa Kent died. I'm sorry, there's no defending that. I don't care who you are. There's no defending how ridiculous that was. That was just a lack of creativity. And then the way Zod died. Now, I don't have a problem with Superman killing Zod. I have a problem with how easy a choice it would have been for Superman to take another action than to just snap his neck right there. So my biggest issue is that I'm going to see things along those lines in Batman vs Superman, where I'm just going to have to call bullshit and say there was something that they could have done something else there. There could have been a different choice made there. But all in all, I am excited for this movie, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun, no matter what. I mean, if you're a Zack Snyder fan, you're familiar with his work. You've seen 300, you've seen Watchmen, you saw Man of Steel. He visually can just take anything and bump it up to the next level. So I have no doubt that that's what this is going to be. I mean, I even get small glimpses of it in Superman's cape flowing in the wind when he's approaching Batman in the fucking Batmobile. So I'm not worried about the visuals. I've never been worried about the visuals for this movie. Wonder Woman casting, I have my issues with.
A lot of the casting, I have my issues with.
Yeah, I honestly, and I'm not even
we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about Ezra Miller. Whatever. But that's my biggest thing, is that I know I'm going to like at least 50% of this movie just based on how visually spectacular it will be.
Only thing is, like, for me, when I've gone to the comic book shop, people are talking about it. I'm already seeing a lot of people already like, I really don't know if I'm interested in it. Like, people already having, like, kind of doubts about this movie already, and I don't know why. I mean,
it hasn't been marketed well. It's got a lot of rumors flying around the mill that surround this movie. The fact that it was delayed a year, the production was delayed a year. You've got controversial casting. You've got Doomsday not really looking like Doomsday. I mean, there's a lot of things I can understand fans reacting negatively to, and that I'm fine with. You're going to go in there with whatever preconceived notions you've got. But the thing is, if you go in there at least open-minded, you're going to hopefully come out of that movie liking it a lot more than you thought you would going in.
Yeah. I think that's true. Yeah, no. I think that's a good point. And not to backtrack, to the Man of Steel movie, and to create up a little argument or debate. But I will say, I think the reason people aren't that excited for this movie is that it really doesn't have the best chances being something new and fresh, which I think that's, we're not going to go back to Deadpool, but that's one of the reasons people are really, really liking Deadpool. But I think what is just different is it's been so long that since these characters have not been done, where I think back in the 90s something should have been done. And that's the thing, is that, they really have kind of limited ideas as to, like, how to make the introduction of these guys, like, come together. It's not like, the Avengers, where the Avengers had a different version of the same characters, like, being done over and over and never gotten together. I mean, like, Batman has been done, dude, four times?
Yeah.
Like, he's been done like 3 or 4 times. Superman's been done 3 times. There's been 3 different guys that have played him within the last, like, 40 years. So, I mean, there's different... I think that's the thing is, they've all done different versions of, like, the same kind of storyline, where it's almost like, we don't really know what to do, but whatever we're going to do, we're going to just try and do it different. And I think that's the thing, is they're kind of like in a damned if they do, damned if they don't. Because if they do something that's sort of like a carbon copy of what was done before, then they're going to get criticized because they're like, man, they're not original. They just copied from that. Or, they can do something completely different, and people are just like, man, yeah, but that wasn't faithful. So, I don't know. I mean, I just think, I think that's another big difference between the Marvel and DC, kind of purist, is Marvel has never really had their movies been done before. Like, all these movies that are coming out within these last 10 years with Marvel, they're all original, because some of these characters didn't even have a TV show.
Yeah.
So, I think that's one of the things that, doesn't give this movie a bad rap, but it has people concerned, because...
I think the 2 things that give this movie a bad rap are, one, you've got that dark, quote-unquote, gritty tone that everyone's kind of over from the Dark Knight trilogy, and then you've also got people saying, well, they should have done it like Marvel. Everyone gets their own individual movie leading up to a Justice League. They're skipping ahead. They're trying to play catch up. I don't think they're trying to play catch up. I think they're trying to formulate their own formula and do it their own style. And I don't think one is right or wrong. We've seen one do well and be successful. Let's see what happens with this one. So yeah, so I think that the fans are a little weary of the dark grittiness from Nolan's trilogy carrying over, and they've seen the way Marvel has kind of formulated their universe, and everyone thinks that they need to copy them. I don't necessarily agree, but anyway, I don't know if you guys agree. Yes, no.
Oh, no,
I
I
think they need to
completely
take a
agree.
different route.
Yeah, I'm glad they're taking a different route because then you're really looking like a
It's gonna be
copycat.
a copycat, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like they're trying
So
to do the same exact thing.
exactly, and no one wants to see that. So, without further ado, what do you guys think? How is BVS Batman vs Superman going to stack up fan reaction, critical success, and financial success?
It's going to make a lot of money just for this, fact that we've been talking about. It's going to be the two most popular heroes, facing off, and you're going to get a lot of general audience, people who are just moviegoers, Ben Affleck fans. They want to see, they want to see his version of Batman. Batman's just a popular movie character. People love Batman, especially love Batman movies. They're almost as comparable to like James Bond movies. So I think this one's going to be a big moneymaker. Critically, I think it's going to get a 50-50. It's going to honestly, I think it's going to have the same type of reactions like Man of Steel did, and that's just because that's the type of movies that Zack Snyder makes. It's happened with Watchmen, happened with I think the only one it didn't happen with was 300. So I think that's the type of critical reception it's going to get. I think as a fan, it's going to be real pleasing for me though.
All right, yeah, there you go. What about you, buddy?
I think from like a fan's perspective, I think it's gonna be like I hated it or I loved it. You know what I mean? It's gonna be hard to get in between. You're not gonna have someone like, yeah, well, this was pretty good and stuff. I think it's gonna be like, the DC people are gonna just drive this film and like love it. And you're gonna have some people that are gonna sit there and be like, well, kind of like how Man of Steel was. But financial success, I think it's gonna do good. Dude, TBM is just rule nowadays. You know what I mean? It's the big thing everyone goes to. Like general audience loves it now. And from like a critic success, critic place, from a critic standpoint, if I was like saying like from like IMDb or something, I'd say like it's gonna be like in this like the 60, like 67, like 65, 60 range probably.
Like a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah, probably about that. I would say it'd probably be around that, about 6.5. I think it's gonna be a very good movie, but it's gonna have its flaws. But I think it's gonna be better than Man of Steel, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm coming from is I think the fact that I can't really make up my mind on how I think this movie's going to be is sort of reflective of the way I think fans and critics are both going to react to this film. I think it's going to polarize both the fans and both the critics. I don't see it getting much more than maybe a 75% kind of thing on Rotten Tomatoes. If it does, you know what, I'll be the first to say I was wrong, and I will be so happy. Like, I'll be like, yeah, great. I'm so glad this movie did well. I don't want this movie to fail. I don't want anyone out there thinking I want this movie to fail. I don't.
Yep.
I love Batman. I like Superman enough, but I understand the gravitas of these two finally sharing the screen. As far as financial success, I see this thing hitting probably $750 million worldwide. So take with that what you will.
Falling a little short of the billion mark.
I don't see this thing making $1 billion. I just don't. I don't
either,
because I
honestly.
think this will polarize fans. I don't see great word of mouth like the Avengers had. Avengers had incredible word of mouth. Everyone I talked to saw the movie multiple times. I don't think that'll be the
I
fact
don't
here.
think it's gonna. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's gonna be one of those movies. Well, let's say I hope it's one of those movies where people will have to go back and see it 2 or 3 times. I really hope so. I hope it's that good. But the odds are is not a lot of people did that with Man of Steel. It wasn't one of those like the most recent was Star Wars, or let's say before that was Avengers 2, where people were like, I'm seeing that like 3 or 4 times in the movie theaters because it was like literally the most fun. But who knows, dude? We could be wrong. We could all come out of that movie, March 26th or whatever day, and say, man, I got to watch that again. It was so awesome. It was so good. I'm really hoping that.
I hope it is. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I hope it is too. But I really think what keeps these movies like Man of Steel and this potentially from having that immediate rewatch value is the fact that it does carry that Dark Knight Returns, Dark Knight tone, and it's kind of a heavy, emotionally filled, draining kind of movie. So you don't go in there like coming out like fuck yeah. You kind of like god damn, like it's kind of a mind fuck. I don't know if I can sit
Yeah.
through that again. I don't know if I can do that 2.5 hours again tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those movies you have to step away from for a while, and so that's why I don't think it's going to have the financial success of something like even Jurassic World, which wasn't great. But the thing is, you can take your kids to it. You can go and have a good time. It's pretty mindless. You can just enjoy your popcorn.
The
And
nostalgia factor.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't think this movie has that going for it.
Yeah.
So I'm calling around 750 million worldwide, give or take probably 20, 30 million either way.
Nice.
So
Sounds good.
yeah, all right, yeah. So I mean, we got Batman vs Superman, and then in May, here it comes, Captain America: Civil War. We got Captain America's team versus Iron Man's team. This is the year of hero clashing hero. I mean, even in Daredevil, we've got Daredevil versus Punisher. Save that for another time. But this is really the year of, I mean, these heroes are going head to head. So, Captain America: Civil War. Vega, go. What are your thoughts?
I don't even know where to start, man. There's just so much stuff going on in this movie that like it's giving me chills thinking about it. And from these trailers, oh man, like the last trailer when it started, like united we stand, united we fall, and then it's a divided we fall, whatever. And I was just sitting there like, holy shit, like what the hell's going on? It's like, dude, we're getting Black Panther in a movie. We're getting Spider-Man in the MCU in the movie. Like, come on. And then to think, like, dude, people would be so divided of like what team they're on. You know how us fanboys are. You know like what's gonna happen. Everyone would be so divided. Dude, this movie, it's gonna like the feel moments in this movie are gonna be ridiculous because there's just the ending of the movie. We're gonna all just probably our mouths to the floor.
Dude, I could probably dedicate a whole podcast just to talking, speculating about this movie.
Dude, it's gonna be ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy, like, because this is gonna. They've been saying it's gonna lead to Infinity War. So like, what is gonna happen in this movie? Like,
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even scared to say it. This is my most anticipated movie of the year.
me too. I can't lie.
Yeah, I've got my reasons, but before I jump in, I want Vega, John, you guys get your thoughts out, man. I want to hear them.
I'm really, really ready for this movie, dude. This movie's been a long time coming, and this is one of those movies, again, as far as like the storyline, you just never thought it would happen, Like, I mean, we were already kind of in that little, we already kind of had our thoughts and our dreams just seeing these two, like, share the screen in the first Avengers, but, like, now that it's actually happening and it's kind of going not just fully based on the storyline in the comics, but also having like a different, like its own creative agenda with the whole, Bucky defending Bucky and thing. I mean, it's going to be something
on a personal
new.
level, dude. It's such on a personal level.
Yeah, it's not just going to be like, because the comic was more, of course, it touched on their friendship, but at the same time, it also like
It was more government,
I mean, it was a very broad-stroked story. I mean, it really encompassed all of the Marvel universe of the comics. This one is really scaled back down to just the very small group of heroes that we are aware of in the.
It's pretty much
Marvel
like
universe.
7-on-7, dude. Just
Yeah. So sorry. Go ahead, John. But yeah.
No. It's y'all are exactly pointing. Y'all are hitting the nail on the head. Just that's exactly what it is. Is this one, a lot of people there was always a 50-50 when the chances of this movie or this specific arc were brought into film. That was what everybody was saying. It's like, well, what if we do Civil War? And people always had the worries like, man, you really can't touch on Civil War because Civil War was a storyline that even though like Tony and Steve were like the head honchos of it,
Yeah.
it involved a lot more people, of course, and Marvel can't do that because of rights and, movie rights issues and all that other stuff, but this one kind of broke it down. Like I said, it's going to give you, a small little piece of that storyline, but also add something new, which is good in my eyes because that's basically what the Winter Soldier did. Like the Winter Soldier took the, the Brubaker book and, kind of made it its own, involved the Hydra, plan and everything. But I mean, mainly what it did is at its core, it was the return of Bucky and Bucky coming back. So it was, if Civil War was anything like the Winter Soldier, and of course adding all these other new characters as far as like, bringing back the characters from Age of Ultron, bringing back,
bring back characters. They're bringing back Ross from Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I mean, like all this is kind of coming to a head. So, and that's just touching what Vegas said is just like,
even though this seems so like final, like a finale type of thing, we haven't even gotten into Infinity War, and this is going to be the predecessor to the two, the double Infinity War movie. So it's like, dude, this is just gonna, I don't know, this is gonna be nuts. Like this is gonna be one of those like if it's anything, it's gonna be like the sequel, to Winter Soldier. But how sequels are better. Like this is one of those where I have no doubt in my mind, like the sequel is going to be better. This is going to be better than Winter Soldier, and I loved Winter Soldier, dude. I mean, we've talked about it billions of times how Winter Soldier is like literally like the benchmark
the best MCU movie.
It's,
yeah,
it's the new
movie,
standard in
honestly.
solo comic book movies, if you ask me.
Yeah,
And honestly, it's just from seeing like the trailers and like when Bucky pulled the trigger at Stark and seeing Stark just like physically go, this guy actually tried shooting at me.
Yeah, like he fucked.
Dude.
Like I mean, that just encapsulates the entire feeling
Tone,
of this movie. Like
the feels
this
and
movie
the tone
is
of the movie, dude.
yeah.
It's gonna be
no punches
no
held.
holds barred.
No.
Just straight up like we're going to war with each other. This is legit a civil war. We're going after each other. I mean, you're gonna have your villains in it, but you could just tell from like this that the friendship's gonna be broken here, man. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, they're taking the kids' gloves
This is
off.
focused on the main characters. Like, yeah, we have Zemo in the back, which we have
Crossbones.
we have no clue what he's doing. Crossbones, but dude, this is just a straight up Cap, Team Iron Man. Let's duke it out. See what happens. If Cap dies, he dies. I mean, it might be for the best right now. If Cap dies at the end, it might be for the best, like in the MCU, just to give us that like, holy shit, they did it. You know what I mean? Moment.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I really do think I want to dedicate another podcast to just talking about everything this movie has to offer before it comes out. So I'd love to get in more in depth with that stuff when we have the chance. But for me, I mean, Vega, are you good?
Oh, dude, I'm great.
Okay, yeah, for me, I think the only way to make this movie as successful as possible is to have the audience flip-flopping between teams. Yes, it's a Captain America movie. Yes, all of the fanboys out there are all hashtag Team Cap, bro. But you know what? If you want this movie to be fucking successful, you've got to go in thinking, all right, I need to see both of these played out. It's like watching the presidential debate. You know, the Republican versus the Democrat. You may side with one or the other, but you need to listen to both of them clearly. Like you need to hear them both out, and that's what I think you need to do with this. Is like you need to see things from Stark's point of view. You need to see things from Cap's point of view because you should be able to see where Cap's right and wrong starts and ends. Same thing with with Stark. Yes, I am Iron Man. Always have been. Cap and Iron Man are my neck and neck favorite heroes. They always have been. So to see them going at it, I mean, just it tugs at my heart. But I have to go with overall Team Iron Man as my blind loyalty. But I know that because it's a Captain America movie, I'm going to be sitting there watching it like, God damn it, I can't help but side more with Cap. But I hope the case is that I find myself, like I did in the comic books, flip-flopping side to side, dude,
I'm
when
already
something happens.
flip-flopping, man. I'm already flip-flopping.
I'm not.
Team Stark, baby.
Yeah, dude. I've said it before. Like, I mean, one of the reasons that Captain America: The Winter Soldier works so well is because it had a villain. And I mean, I know Hydra was the main villain, but when I talk about the villain in the Winter Soldier, I'm talking about Bucky.
Right.
And I mean, the thing is you have to have a villain that is that you're gonna feel for. Like that's the thing, and that's why this movie is going to be so important. Is as it stands right now, it's a Captain America movie, so that generally means that Iron Man is going to be the villain.
Well, let's call him the antagonist, and you need.
Well, there you go, the antagonist. It's not going to be the villain, but he's going to be the opposing side, or however you want to call it. But that's the thing is, there are going to be moments in here, like, and that's what's going to be so great about this movie is there's going to be moments where you are going to agree with Stark, whether or not you walk into the movie like all pro Team Cap or everything like that. You are gonna that's the thing, and it's so awesome that Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man because you have such a great actor who's going to be in an antagonistic role, But that's always been said about the villains of the Marvel universe or villains in comics or like just in general like fiction. It's like a great villain is someone who believes in his mind and in his heart that he's doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Like if you have an antagonist or an opposite who believes that, then your movie's already going to be, or whatever you're doing, it's going to be awesome. Because that thing is, you need a good dance partner. You got to have someone on the opposite. I mean, the Avengers worked. Yes, because they all came together, but they needed a common threat like Loki, and someone who like literally could stand against all six of them. So you could be like, wow, that's awesome.
Right.
He's a great villain.
Yeah, John. So I completely agree, dude. I mean, your hero can only be as good as your antagonist. That's kind of where I think the first Avenger really falls short, is that the Red Skull kind of sucked. So it really kind of inhibits the progression of your hero. I mean, because your hero, like I said, can only be as great as your villain. So when you've got Stark as your antagonist, it's really going to step up Cap's game. So you're going to love both these characters and see them go at it. And here's what I think. I mean, I know all these movies, were originally building up to the first Avengers, but even in the first Avengers movie, we saw friction with Iron Man and Cap. So if you ask me, all these movies have really been boiling up to this one movie, Civil War. Everything's been boiling up to this. I mean,
you're not lying, man. You are not lying.
Bringing in General Ross, and I mean, this guy's government, this guy's army, this guy's going after the Hulk. Now he's in this. It just feels like everything was really leading up to Civil War. And if we go back, we can pay attention to the signs like, oh shit, that moment right there, like that could very well be, the first little clue that we had to Civil War. So I'm very excited about this movie. I cannot wait to get my ass in the theater.
I can't wait for May, man.
Yeah, me neither, dude. I'm really pumped for it.
And you know what? I will say this and Batman vs Superman, both of these have it going for them, is that really we don't know much about these movies. Yeah, plenty of pictures have been released, but we really don't know what's happening. I mean, we haven't seen a picture of Spider-Man. We don't know about the third...
Zemo.
Yeah, or Zemo. We don't know about the third villain that's supposed to be in Batman vs Superman. We know the gist of what's happening. These heroes are going at it. These teams are going at it. But we really don't know all the finite little details that really comprise these movies. So I love that I'm going in there really not knowing what I'm going to be getting, but knowing I'm going to be getting something very satisfactory to fucking mind-blowing, which I think Civil War will be mind-blowing.
Oh, mind blowing! It's gonna be the amount of feel moment to be jaw dropping. Dude, it's gonna make you walk out of there like, dude, like what just happened? Like what just happened in there?
And I think there will be enough moments in there to make you have to go back and rewatch. Like I didn't catch that the first time.
Oh no, dude, there's gonna be so many like little like moments, like little Easter egg parts. And oh damn, like look at that.
Oh yeah. So I think.
And dude, and whatever that after credit's gonna be leading up, like whatever's gonna lead up to IW, I can't only imagine.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I love Marvel doing that. I'm glad they're doing it again with this. But anyway, Vega, what do you think? Financial, fan, and critical reception. What are your predictions?
Honestly, my opinion, I think it's going to be close to $1 billion. Honestly, financially, I just think because you have Iron Man 3 just made $1 billion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having these two heroes go at it, I think, and people love them. It's the Marvel universe too. Guardians of the Galaxy blew up, and that was like Marvel's biggest iffy project. Now you're bringing two of the greatest heroes ever go at it. So I think probably roughly about $1 billion. Critically, success. I think it's going to be through the roof. It's going to be higher than Winter Soldier. I think it's going to have a crazy like Rotten Tomatoes, and have that movie like up probably like about an 80, 75 maybe.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be make more money than the Winter Soldier. But I think I'm more worried, and not worried. I'm just more concerned about just critically, because this movie, like I said, it's got the potential to be like literally the new game changer, or the new like standard for the superhero movies. Like, and I think one of the
Soldier was,
yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think that's another. I actually do believe, I should retract my comment. I think it's actually going to make a lot more money because of Iron Man being in it. Because Iron Man, we just can't. Nobody can argue it anymore, dude. Like he's just the face of the new superhero. Yeah, like I mean, that's the new standard. He's like the new Batman. I mean, he's been in, how many movies it is? This will be his 8th outing.
3 Iron Mans, 2 Avengers, and then I mean, if you count Hulk, so I think 7 if you count the Hulk.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's up there, more than 5.
Yeah.
So
exactly, and I just think from a fan perspective, dude, we're gonna walk out that. We're gonna know what that movie's gonna do. It's gonna be a punch to the gut, kind of.
Well, and another thing that I'm digging that we didn't touch on is like I'm loving like especially from the trailer how this is really going to. I mean, I'm trying to find the words to put it in. Is like I love the fact that this is going to make the hero basically. It's going to push him up against the wall, and it's going to give that Captain America spirit. I think that's going to be one of the best things about this movie that was so good against, or that was so good with the Winter Soldier. Is like this is a movie where Cap has those straight up 1940s like American beliefs. Like he has got just that patriotism to him. And like even if like it's just like I can't remember which book it is, but it's the famous word bubble where he's like, dude, it does not matter. It doesn't matter what politicians say. It doesn't matter what mobsters say. Like, if you believe in it, you plant yourself like right by the river of truth. And if it says you move, no, it's like you move. Like I'm not moving. Like that you're gonna find that Cap spirit because like the way that the trailer like emphasized, it just seems like everything's coming up against him. Like he's in the wrong, and it almost kind of puts him in like this. The world is against you kind of standpoint where like he is going to be noticed as a vigilante
Well, I mean,
but he
in the
doesn't
Winter
believe
Soldier,
that.
they talked about him being a fugitive from S.H.I.E.L.D., as hard as that was to believe Captain America is a fugitive of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're kind of carrying that over to now. And I think Bucky is the biggest reason why. Everyone wants to bring Bucky in, make him face, whatever charges for all of his crimes over the years, and Cap's like, look, the guy was brainwashed. You can't hold him accountable for this stuff. And if you want to get to him, you're going to go through me.
Exactly.
So, you know what? I'm cool. Keep that thread going. Keep Captain America. A very interesting idea is the guy who said his name is Captain America is basically going up against American government, Big Brother. So what does that kind of say about the state of affairs in, where America's at right now? I think it's cool. Again, I think this is something we can all really talk about way more in depth in another podcast if we really want to. John, what do you think?
Do it.
Oh yeah, I'm down. John, so overall thoughts? Critical success, financial success, and fan reaction.
Fan reaction is going to be a 12 out of 10, maybe 15. Critical reception is probably going to be a 12 out of 10. Money wise, it'll definitely be 10 for 10, man. I think it's going to be. I mean, I don't know where the Winter Soldier stood, and I keep on bringing up that movie, dude, because that's seriously just the benchmark for me. Like that to me is the definitive Captain America movie for me. Like I could watch that over and over and over.
Yeah,
it is just so awesome. But I don't know how much money Captain America: The Winter Soldier made, but I will say that
around $715 million, I think.
Yeah, so I think anywhere between 8 and the billion mark. And that's just because I think general audiences who just are fans of these movies they'll go to, but I think they're going to come in and they're going to be expecting something as sort of like family friendly or as humorous or as maybe lighthearted and fun as the Avengers, but I'm really hoping that it flips it on him and it just the Russo brothers, they gave us that 1970s political thriller with the Winter Soldier, and with this one I don't know, I can't remember what they're comparing it to,
like
but
a Man on the Run.
Yeah, dude. Like I think with this one, they're gonna do the same thing. So I mean, I think this is gonna have, it's gonna have your MCU like lighthearted like little moments.
Yeah, they already said it's gonna have a lot of funny moments, but you can just tell it's gonna have like its serious moments.
Yeah, dude. There's gonna be some serious feels going on here. The same that were with the fight with Cap and Bucky. You're gonna have that with Cap and with Cap and Tony.
Yeah,
like I'm really fucking pumped for it.
Yeah, the Russos did a great job in The Winter Soldier of balancing the stakes of the movie with the fun humor. I mean, there were jokes in The Winter Soldier. Are they as memorable as all the feels moments? No, but they worked in concert together to make a great movie. That's what we're gonna get here. We're gonna get fun little jokes like On Your Left from The Winter Soldier, something that makes you chuckle but not outright bust a gut, which is what you need in these movies because the stakes are so fucking high.
Yeah.
For me, I think this movie has more potential than any other comic book movie this year to make $1 billion. Will it hit it? I don't know, but I think it will be the highest grossing comic book movie of the 6 coming out. critical reception, I think it will have the best critical reception as well. I don't think it'll have the best fan reception. I think Deadpool is getting the best fan reception this year. I think everyone's going to love Civil War, but depending on how this movie ends and depending on which side you fall on of the Registration Act or whatever it's called, it's going to split you. You know, if it ends with Cap being killed and you're Team Iron Man, you may love this movie. If it ends with Cap being killed and your Team Cap, you're gonna be pissed. You're gonna want like fuck this. You know, I demand differently. But so I think overall, best critical reception, best most money. I think it's gonna polarize fans a little bit like Batman vs Superman, which I think inherently with two heroes going at it, it should probably polarize the fans depending on who's your favorite hero. So X-Men Apocalypse, the follow-up to X-Men Days of Future Past, starring Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, which is a great fucking casting. This guy's been on fire in his career lately.
Unbelievable.
Didn't realize it came out like 2 weeks after Captain America, so that makes it interesting because we know a lot less about this movie than we do what I feel like we know of Captain America. John, what are your thoughts on X-Men Apocalypse?
No, I think it's pretty known about my view with the Fox X-Men universe, but judging from the trailer that we just saw this past Super Bowl Sunday, and then from what we saw last year when they aired it, very, very psyched with this one. And going back to the Super Bowl trailer, this looks like an X-Men movie that has some hardcore destruction going on. So that lets me know that Apocalypse, this isn't going to be what we've gotten before as far as, with the X-Men movies, it's always the human mutant, kind of Martin Luther King, civil rights kind of thing that we've kept on going back and forth with in the last couple of movies. This one's going to have like some actual like threat of the world type shit. Like, and that's just from that little 30-second X-Men. Like, there was a lot of damage being done there. Like, I'm sure everyone's seen like that scene of, Psylocke cutting up that car.
That was awesome, dude.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's probably the key thing that the key, like, little clip that everyone got. But, I mean, sure as shit. I mean, there's going to be some serious war going on because the way that they've been building Apocalypse, just like some of the lines that they've used. I think there was one where, Havoc and Moira are talking, and, they're talking about the Four Horsemen, saying that he got it from the Bible, and then Moira says, like, or the Bible got it from him.
Yeah.
I mean, they're building up Apocalypse as being, like, he's not just going to be this, mutant activist. Like, you're talking about the first mutant. Like, this is going to be as much of a threat as he's always been in the books, so I'm ready, dude. I mean, I know people have their opinions on the Fox X-Men universe, how they're not the exact, first class team, or, it doesn't have Iceman, and I mean, but at this point, man, and with the way that the movies have been, actually the last two, Days of Future Past and First Class, I haven't been disappointed. They've been more like critical, good movies to me, so I'm ready.
Yeah, definitely. Vega.
My thing is, I can't wait. I enjoy the X-Men movies. I really do. Just the only thing that bothers me about them is the whole stupid their uniforms.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, but can't do anything about it. But no bothers me. They give Psylocke her outfit, right? They give her that awesome, they gave her real purple costume. Everyone else is still wearing the black leather suits.
Well, they're a little more armored now, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
But, I can't wait for this movie, Apocalypse, finally. We're getting pretty much a real different villain other than Magneto, who's really going to be a crazy threat, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And you have a great guy like Oscar Isaac freaking playing Apocalypse. It's just funny how he goes from Poe, some crazy, like, energetic, cool, like, great fun guy, to some, like, evil guy who's trying to end the world now, which I can't wait for. Honestly, I think the young kids they casted, they look pretty good as who they're playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They actually, like, in the Super Bowl trailer, the Super Bowl spot, they actually look like their counterparts. So I'm kind of excited to see. I'm really excited to see this movie. I mean, of course, I want Hugh Jackman in it because he's my favorite X-Men. He's as Wolverine, but what can you do? But I can't wait, man. Michael Fassbender as Magneto's probably been the best Fox casting other than Wolverine. So I can't wait, man. Oh, and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, but I can't wait, man. I'm excited, dude.
Yeah, same here. You know what? This movie, it's got my interest. Definitely. I mean, I grew up with the X-Men films from Singer with X1 coming out, back in 2000. And so that's why I'm just over the whole thing about the
Yeah.
costumes. Yeah, I'd love to see the traditional costumes brought to life. But,
Yeah,
even in
it's
Dead
kind of over with now. Yeah.
Yeah, even in Deadpool, we see Colossus in non-traditional costume, but he looks so much like Colossus, we don't care. But this is 16 years now that we've seen this. I don't know why anyone can still bitch about these costumes. That's how they've been for 16 years. They're not changing. I'm over it. I'm fine with it. For me, the best thing this movie has going for it, other than Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, because I saw him in Ex Machina, and the dude is just phenomenal. I mean, that guy just, he can act, he can do anything. I don't give a shit. So Apocalypse, I know, is going to be killer. Him and Fassbender together are going to dominate the
Four
screen.
Horsemen.
Oh, dude, they're going to dominate. But my thing about this movie is if you look at the lineup of X-Men, this movie has the best lineup of any X-Men film ever. I mean, you've got Jean, you've got Cyclops, you've got Storm, you've got Nightcrawler, you've got Psylocke, you've got Angel, you've got
You got Professor X chilling.
Professor X. Who else? I know there's some more.
You got Beast.
Beast.
Horrible Beast. I'm sorry. I can't stand Nicholas Hoult. as
Honestly,
Beast.
I don't really care about. I mean, he passes as a young Kelsey Grammer for me, so I'm cool with it.
The worst is Mystique. Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique is she's just kind of there for me. She doesn't add anything to me, and I don't really care. I believe that Hugh Jackman does have a small role in this movie. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, dude, he's definitely gonna be. I'm sorry. There's no way they're not gonna put him in
I
this.
think
you know
he's
what I
got
mean?
at least a cameo, more than the way he did First Class. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some or heard some kind of nod to Deadpool, whether it be in the movie or it be in the post-credit scene kind of thing. I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past Fox to incorporate that because it's just going to bump this movie up even further. If people are like, oh, I love Deadpool, and now
He's in the X-Men universe.
yeah,
Deadpool.
now I'm gonna go tell my friends about it. Like, hey, did you remember Deadpool? Like, hey, he makes a small, tiny appearance, or they mention him in X-Men Apocalypse. So, we don't know a whole lot about this movie. Yes, Apocalypse does have the size shifting. It looks like from what we saw at the end of Days of Future Past, he does have that telekinetic ability to lift and manipulate matter. All in all, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I do think that this movie does fall under the radar in comparison in scope to Civil War, Batman vs Superman, and Deadpool.
Agreed.
I don't think this movie has as much attention garnered towards it as those other three films. And I think kind of like Days of Future Past, it'll make its money. It'll make a good amount of money, but it won't be a movie that everyone ends up talking about.
You know what it is? People already have they're so stoned. You know what? Fox. I don't like it. I'm not watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
People
even
are so set
even
in
the
stone
general
on it.
audience, I remember I went and saw X-Men Days of Future Past with a bunch of people. This is the first time we'd gotten a group together in years to go see one of these things, and only 3 or 4 of us were really big comic book fans, and everyone else was just there for the ride. Yeah, it was a good movie. I had a good time. I liked it. This part was cool. That part was cool. But it wasn't a movie that you ended up talking about later. The Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier is a movie that people just can't stop fucking talking about. I don't think X-Men Apocalypse is going to change that. I think it'll make a good 700 million, maybe. I mean, I think that might even be a little too optimistic, but fan reception, it's going to be middle of the road. Financially, I think it will make about 150% of its budget, if not more. And then critically, I see it doing just about Days of Future Past critical acclaim as well.
Agreed. My thing is where are they gonna go from here? You know what I mean? Because this is supposed to be Jennifer Lawrence's last movie as Mystique.
Which is
So
fine.
where are they gonna go from here? Is Singer gonna keep going with the universe? Is it gonna be someone else taking over and doing their own thing now? That's my big question.
Here's my
where are they
thing.
gonna go?
You can't kill off Apocalypse. I just don't think you can kill Apocalypse in this. So whatever happens, he's in the background somewhere.
I
agree. No, I was gonna say I think that this might probably have to be the last outing for Bryan Singer, and I mean, I really don't know another after Days of Future Past and after First Class. I mean, they've done some of the more popular,
Arcs.
arcs. Yeah,
Right.
you nailed it, dude. They've done some of the most popular arcs. Apocalypse, people have been really clamping for Apocalypse. Even when the first movie came out in like 2000, people were like, when are we going to see Apocalypse? When are we going to see the Age of Apocalypse? When are we going to, So, I mean, I think honestly that this may be the very last outing. And I'm really not sure I know Fox just has the rights to the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Deadpool. I mean, depending on how good Deadpool is going to be, I mean, Deadpool may be the new, forefront, you know, really, I guess, like the one leading the charge as far as like the X-Men, universe. And
Do we finally get Cable? Do we get X Force movie?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think
'cause
X Force
now-
is the next
Yeah,
step for
yeah.
these guys.
Exactly. Well, you have X Force, and then you have the Solo Gambit movie. So I think they're going
Ah.
to go ahead
No,
and
no,
depart.
no. Solo Gambit isn't happening. I'm firmly believing this now.
Well, it's happening, man. I'm sorry.
It's not, dude. Director's dropped out. We don't have a director.
No, they do have a director. They have a director now.
No,
man.
he
They got
dropped
one.
out. They don't have a new one.
No,
Well,
they got a new one. I'm pretty sure.
either way, man.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like
Fuck
directors
nonsense.
drop all the time. The thing is, that movie's going to get made. So I think that's one of the things. Is this may be the last, as far as like the group X-Men movie, because now, if you really look at it on the numbers wise, I mean, this is what the sixth X-Men movie, but
This
it's
will be
going to be like the
yeah.
eighth one with Wolverine. I mean, it's
I think-
it's kind of getting up there too. They are running at. They're kind of at the point where the Avengers are with the Infinity War. Like there's gonna be a time where like you're gonna have to not focus on that core group anymore.
Yeah,
like
they're
even though
kind
that
of
was your
approaching.
initial group.
Yeah, they're approaching the red tape kind of.
Exactly.
And Fudge, Doug Liman is now directing Gambit. He's the one. He did Edge of Tomorrow and some Bourne movies.
Like I give a shit. That movie's gonna fall through the cracks. It's not gonna happen, dude.
Either way, like that's what I'm saying is they're going. I think the more solo routes. They're probably. I mean, I do believe that maybe somewhere along the line they may bring the X-Men back, or they may, probably reboot it within the universe. I mean, it kind of was rebooted with Days of Future Past. And I mean, that to me is honestly the coolest thing. Like, I'm not scared about what's going on because if you do recruit a new team or anything, you're going to have James McAvoy as Professor X, which, as you can tell, this is his third outing. But he's already going bald. He's aging in the role a little bit more. And then same with Michael Fassbender. Dude is Magneto. So just, if they could play those same roles for the next 10 years, I'm not going to have a problem with that. That actually would be really cool to see them actually grow into those roles the same way
that would really be cool.
the same way that we've seen, Cap grow into, or Chris Evans grow into being Cap,
Yeah,
and the
goddamn.
same way we're gonna go see, I can't remember his name. He's the guy
Holland.
playing the Black Panther.
I would say Tommy Holland is Spider-Man, but
I mean,
Chadwick Boseman.
There you go, man. I mean, he's in his mid-20s, so you can easily tell like he's gonna be the new forefront. Him and Spider-Man, those are gonna be the new next level guys.
and Strange, yeah, which we'll
yeah,
get to.
and Strange,
These are my final thoughts on the X-Men. What I think is going to happen is this will be it for the Singerverse for a while. We will see Deadpool's sequel. We will see X-Force, and then at some point we might even see the X-Force versus the X-Men.
There you go.
Something similar to Batman vs Superman: Civil War. By then, it'll be far enough out of people's minds where it's not like, oh, they're just more heroes fighting each other. It might feel fresh. But again, what do you guys think? Critical acclaim and all that nonsense. Where do you guys fall on Apocalypse?
I think Moneymaker. It's probably going to make the least out of all the last three that we've been talking about. Critical acclaim. I think it's probably going to get the same kind of critical feel that Days of Future Past got, and the same one that First Class got, where they're not more of. I think they're a little bit more on the serious note of. They're not like if you're going to compare it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which, I mean, I know people hate to do, but, those are movies that you could take your family, take your kids out to. I don't think the X-Men movies are those type of movies. They still have a little bit more of a mature mindset. I mean, I think critically, the adults will be big on it. I think they'll like it, but it won't be something like you called with Batman and Superman. It's because it has that more mature, dark, and kind of gritty feel. It's not going to have a rewatch value like, man, my kids can go see that.
It's usually politically relevant, especially lately. It's a very politically relevant type of movie, which kind of goes over the heads of kids, and adults understand it.
Exactly.
I think X-Men is going to... Pretty much what everyone said already. I mean, I'm excited. I think it's gonna do the same like Days of Future Past, probably just a little bit better, just for the simple fact it is Apocalypse. But bring it on, man! I'm excited. I mean, I think this is probably gonna be the end of Singer's universe. They're gonna focus on Wolverine after this, another Deadpool, X-Force, Cable, and all that stuff. So, see where this goes. See what happens.
And you know what? I will say it was my last closing thought is that I'm glad that Magneto isn't the bad guy, a human isn't the bad guy, but we have a bona fide, real X-Men bad guy.
Exactly.
It's Apocalypse. So, you know what? This movie could be a little bit of a wild card. I don't see it doing better than Batman vs Superman or Civil War, but you never know. It could be a grand spectacle. I just don't see it yet, and it's probably mostly because of the marketing. Everything's been pretty hush. I will see much more than just comic book movies this year, obviously. Hope everyone else does too. I urge you guys to all go to the theater and see whatever movie interests you, comic book movie or not. I don't know. You guys have any other closing statements before we sign off?
It's gonna be a fun year.
It's gonna be a great year. I want everyone to start turning into some fanboys over here. Let's do it.
I'm actually excited that we get to probably talk about these movies after they come out too. It'll be good to get into discussion. I mean, if even fun, listen to what we had to say about them and our expectations, and then what we thought, what was legit, what totally flipped us,
what threw us
on
for
our
a loop?
ass.
What were we right about,
Exactly.
wrong about? Yeah, actually, dude, not too long ago, I went back and re-listened to the 2014 comic book movie podcast, and man, we dead on about certain things and way off about others. So
because that'd be
a lot
the
of
cool
fun.
thing that would be the cool thing at the end of the year if you come off saying that even though you had of course everyone's expecting Captain America Civil War to be your favorite, but if you came off at the end of the year when you know what, I actually watched Guardians, or fuck Guardians, not
Deadpool
Guardians.
or something, yeah.
No,
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
saying that you watched that, and you were like, you know what, I actually really, really, really wanted to see that more times than anything else. That would be the surprising thing. So
Yeah.
you never know.
Unlikely, but never know. All right, guys. Well, me, John, and Vague would all like to thank you guys for listening. If you stayed with us this long, hopefully here soon we'll do a Deadpool spoiler talk, and then we'll do another one maybe before Batman vs Superman, and so on and so forth. So hopefully we can keep putting these out, and you guys will keep listening. We thank all the subscribers, anyone who leaves comments, anyone who's listening. Really appreciate it. That's why we do it. We love talking about it, and we hope you guys get something out of it too.
No, appreciate it. Yeah, and we will talk again later for sure.
Definitely. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you.